Well, I could show you the finished window installation. That's all done out there. It's been raining. Rained yesterday a lot. So right now what I'm working on is door fitment. And I know I've talked about it before and showed you some of what I did before, like putting these spacers in. And this is all because the trailer is just not square, so there's really no chance of getting everything in here square. What I'm doing right now, you can see I've already put, if you can see this one strip here, I put that in, this door jamb. It screws to the outside flat against this, the frame. This inside part can be moved. It's not really meant to be, but because there is some flex in it, I'm able, what I could do, and you can see that the door is hitting right here, it's catching, and it's catching probably about that much, about 1/4 of an inch or so. And that'll be enough, especially by the time I finish driving this in, which I'll do right now. I would say in things like this, not to get too rambunctious, to use a word, and try to do it too much at once. And what I'll do, I just got a little bit more to go on this. I want the outside edge of that strip I'm putting in to be flush with the surface of this one. That piece of wood is a little too soft. Looking for something else still, but this will work. Get my other hammer. Almost there. That won't work. If I use this sharp end, I'm afraid all right. Get my pen. That's about 5/16 of an inch. That'll do. It's just a screen door. There's an old sponge rubber seal they had put on here, and that's all right. I mean, if you've got your outside door open and you got the screen door shut just to keep the bugs and stuff out, you're not really needing that tight of a seal here. Not like for the outer door. But now up here, you can't see it because it's a little bit of a angle, but right here, this door is barely there, barely overlapping this. And it's a little better down at the bottom, but I've got to get this part over a little bit more. Up here, it's only overlapping at the top about maybe 1/8 of an inch. So I'm afraid this may end up being too much, but we'll see. This is a paint stirring stick from the hardware store. Good old Wally World. I need to get this up pretty far. If I can get that in there, seated in there good, I think that'll work pretty good. I'm trying to stay out of the light so you can see what I'm doing. Another thing I'll probably use some are these shims for door and window casings. This is your standard shims, and you can get them longer, and they're wedge shaped, as you can see, and they're to adjust your windows and doors similar to what I'm doing here. But most of what I needed here, I didn't need a wedge shape, especially on that side. I needed a consistent shim for the whole depth of 1.5 inch of that inside there. Let me I don't know if I'll ever get this thing all the way in there at the top. I see one little problem there. Where the weld broke, the weld nipple itself is holding this a little. Let me see. I'll see if I can use a chisel to knock that off. I'm sure not going to take it loose. There we go. Just tapped it back into alignment to get it back where it should have been to begin with. Now let's see if I can pry that out a little more. I hope this is not too much of a detail. I think what I'll do here, drive that wedge in up there, and then I'll fit this in there, and I'll go with whatever I get. Again, there's not likely in this kind of an undertaking, there's not likely to be any perfect solution. You're not going to get something like this back perfect unless, as I said before, you take the body off of the trailer and rebuild it from scratch. All right, let's see what that did. Got maybe 1/4 of an inch of overlap up at the top. I think I'll have to settle for that because this is pretty tight together up here at the corner, so it's not going to let this area come over much more unless I really go bending it, and I don't want to do that. Now down at the bottom, I've got to add a little bit more down there. This gap I'm not going to worry about. This frame is good and solid, and when I'm done here, I'll do what I did over here. They had screws in this before, but the screw heads, unless you want to countersink that metal, the screw heads stick out a little bit. Maybe not a big deal, but instead of having the only purpose of the screws or anything here is to hold those shims where I put them. And so what I've used here, I pre-drilled holes through the shims so it wouldn't split them, and I just used roofing nails. That way, you know, they're flush, tight, hold everything where I want it. It works real good, and that's what I'll do over here too on this side. When I'm done, is put some roofing nails through, drill some holes through, put some roofing nails in, just to make sure, although I don't think this is going to go anywhere. but better safe than sorry. This whole area will get covered with new siding similar to that. I would probably replace that in a different kind up here. Excuse the light. I would replace that, except the refrigerator is going to come all the way out to here, so that area is going to be covered. So I'm not going to worry about that. Get my light back around here. Pen again.